Hey Dorian, how you
I'm
doing?
very good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So with this show, which I'm a huge fan of,
Oh man.
huge fan of your DJing, and I'm also a huge fan of your work. What is it about this show at this particular time do you think is so important? Because I feel like this time, especially, I think the characters just hit home with everybody.
Hmm.
What do you think is so important for us at this time to be watching this show?
Yeah, I feel like America's ready. And if they're not ready, they've been primed enough where we can kind of get them listening. I mean, the conversation about the American penal system has been going on, and I just think that um, we have an opportunity to kind of to address that
Exactly.
and to be in people's living rooms every day, every week rather. It really brings it home. It's a lot of times I think that if you're not from certain communities, or you don't, if something doesn't affect you, you feel like this is happening out there. That's not my thing, and you can have an opinion based on something that's happening across the river. Whereas when we're in your living room every week, there's a certain feeling of having to deal with it. When you start rooting for Aaron, and you're like, I don't know anybody like this guy, but you're rooting for him. You starts
Yeah.
to open up your eyes and you think that there are other Aarons, there are other people who are there, or when you're rooting for Jamal, those things. And I think that that's like an important thing about television. And one of the greatest things about our show is that we're able to open up a conversation with people that maybe wouldn't talk about it.
Or afraid to talk about it.
Right. Or don't even know, like, have the tools to discuss it. Don't even know it needs to be talked about. I think that's the biggest thing in America. People don't really realize that certain things need to be addressed. If it
At
doesn't
all
affect them personally, people personally, they feel like this is not something that needs to be talked about. And there's, millions of people in this world, millions of people in this country who have a very different experience than you and I,
exactly.
and they need to be addressed.
Well, I find it very interesting that your wife is playing a judge.
Yeah.
You're working and you're
You
doing
find it interesting. I find it very natural. That's a judgy lady. I'm joking. I was like, oh no, they picked the right one. You a judge for sure.
she's the judge, but you know what? She's the judge and the jury. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, what are those conversations like when it comes time to coming home and maybe just decompressing from the character for you and for her?
Uh, I mean, it's we talk about our work so much. Like I'm so glad that we both do something that we're interested in, because we come home and we kind of unload on each other, or download, whatever, however you want to say it. But we discuss our work ad nauseum. We discuss how to approach scenes. We discuss. It's just it's a lot, this is just a natural progression that we have. That we both have shows that kind of deal with the legal system, and there's not it's a conversation that we definitely have, especially her side of the family. Her side of the family is very political, so when we do these
Really?
family calls with her parents and her brother and her sister, it's usually politics. My family, we're usually talking about religion or something, but her family is politics, and so so it's like a very natural thing. I love debating with her dad. Like he's my dad. I love debating with him about politics. So we kind of it's a natural progression in our household, actually.
Wow. Okay. So, being that you are the DJ of like
Mhm.
the DJ, is there a song or music when you're on set to get into character for you? You know,
Oh yeah,
sometimes you're in your trailer and you're like ready to go. Is it a particular artist or is it something that just kind of cools you down to go into character?
I mean, I have a playlist that is kind of crazy. It's like all over the place. It really depends on what mood I need to be in for the day
Okay.
of it. Well, you know what? In the beginning, it changes. I'll have a playlist that I decide needs to be the character's playlist. But as time goes by, the character kind of dictates what he wants to hear. And sometimes it's not at all what I chose. And so then I start being like, I might have started off listening to, some hardcore hip hop like Casanova or something. But then, like, mid season, I'm listening to Curtis Mayfield. That really happened because it felt like that was more Jamal's speed. And so it kind of happens. The person to ask really is probably Joy. Joy Bryant's dressing room is next to mine. And sometimes I feel really sorry for her because I blast my music. And I'm like, I wonder does Joy have a problem with this? She never said anything to me, but I wonder. And I noticed that I have been mysteriously placed the furthest from set
Okay.
because I think it's because I make the most noise. I'm just be real. I think that's why.
Well, thank you so much. And
Okay.
we are at Hollywood Melanie are so excited for your character and just having you come to screen and bring all of these elements to your character.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.